Hey, this is Natasha, and I'm speaking with Viola Vantise, and she is a lifestyle influencer, business mentor, and serial entrepreneur. In July of 2017, she launched a fashionable and socially conscious clothing line called Melanin Too Rich. Melanin Too Rich is an urban apparel and luxury lifestyle brand that highlights Black excellence and celebrates the beauty in all shades of Blackness. It is her personal mission to promote entrepreneurship within the Black community and teach others how to turn their hobbies into a money generating business. She has successfully helped several aspiring and current business owners and professionals do just that. She says self sufficiency is vital to the progression of our people. Viola is a leader in branding, event planning, event hosting, and corresponding, and small business startup. How are you, Viola?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes. I'm really excited to speak with you because of a lot of different things that you do. First and foremost, as as a sister on fire, it's an honor to have you be a part of this series. But also, just kind of the work that you do, it just sounds so incredible and so meaningful for business entrepreneurship as well as just the Black narrative. So, how did you get started with?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you get started with being the person you are today?
Yes. Well, to make a long story short, I would say I've always had a passion for entrepreneurship. I knew that was something that I always wanted to do. But like most people who have that in their spirit, the seed of entrepreneurship, you get nervous because bills are real, and you're like, oh, I can't do it, or maybe I'll just do it part time, or maybe I'll do it next month or next year. So God actually forced me in this position. I believe it was June 2017. I launched my business, Melanin Too Rich. I was actually full time working at that time, and took a week vacation. Came back to work. My boss at that time said, "Well, hey, I heard that you just started a new business, but unfortunately, while all that's good and great, it's a direct competition with our business, so you will have to choose between working here or, doing your own business." So ultimately, I had to make a choice. I had 2 days to do it, to figure it out, and I chose to, do my own business. And here I am 8, 9 months later.
Wow. Okay. And what were like some of the vital resources and tools that you use to go from just the idea of I want to start a business, to, especially with fashion and how volatile of an industry that is, to going forward
Right.
and actually, yeah, like actually executing.
Yes, what I would tell anybody looking to, and it's different stages. Example, like for me, I was put in a position to choose. Hey, your job, because it wasn't a career at that time. It was just a job that was paying my bills. I was a first time homeowner.
Hmm.
Um, March makes it, a year in for me. So I had a lot of things going on. So it was just a job, to fund my dream, essentially. So I either had to choose between that or my dream. So for me, luckily, I had already had in the back of my mind that this is something that I wanted to do full time, or at least primarily as my, career. So I had already been saving quite a bit. So if for what I would say to anybody that's interested in, jumping into entrepreneurship or doing their own business, hopefully you're able to save up a little bit to be able to do what I did, because everyone's path is different. And what I do hate it sometimes is people say, oh yeah, just step out on faith and just go for it. Yeah, but that's not really logical, I guess you can say, a lot of times. So you do have to have at least some type of support. Also, God is a big component of my business. So I would say definitely my spirituality. I did have, like I said, quite a bit of savings already saved up, being prepared to make
Hmm.
that transition. It wasn't something that I just thought of that month and say, hey, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to run with it. No, it actually was years in the making, in my head, in my spirit, little by little, whether it was doing my graphic here this month and, okay, testing out some products this month. So all those things kind of led up to that ultimate decision to say, hey, you can do this on your own. And then, like I said, I had launched at the Juneteenth Fest here in Daytona Beach, and the response was so amazing that I was like, hey, I can do this. You know, if I can get people in my city to support me, or I would go to Atlanta so often that people thought I lived in Atlanta, you know, promoting my business, selling my T-shirts, and it's more than just T-shirts, just the overall brand of empowerment, entrepreneurship, and such. So I know that there was a need for what I'm doing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so before you went down this path, you actually had a quite successful career as well in journalism. Could you share a little bit about like how you got into
Yes.
journalism and then how that affected your entrepreneurial journey?
Absolutely. I graduated from Florida A&M University in their journalism program. I started out initially doing hard news, but with my personality, I figured, okay, this is it. I don't want to talk about the sad things that you kind of have to talk about, and it was very, I guess you could say, conservative. So you have to, articulate yourself a certain way. You have to be poised all the time. And so I enjoy doing celebrity reporting. What I found out for me is I was just a lot more comfortable. It was more free flowing. I made a lot of connections in the industry. So I started doing, I launched a website back then called Violas Journey, where I would do celebrity interviews on the radio and also video interviews. So I started doing that, and that was going well. And I said, okay, I love this, and I love being a part of, the entertainment environment, but it didn't fulfill me, I would say. It's something that I was great at doing, made a lot of great connections, but it wasn't my purpose or my passion. It was, and I think a lot of times people get that confused, something that you're good at with your purpose. Just because I'm able to sing doesn't mean that God created that to be my purpose to heal someone else or created that as my purpose. You know what I mean? So I think it's all about just finding what your assignment is, like what does God have you here on this earth to complete? What does he have you here on this earth to do? So while I'm great at those things, that wasn't necessarily my purpose. So then I ended up transitioning, I moved from Tallahassee, where I was doing a lot of the celebrity news reporting at between Tallahassee, Orlando, and Atlanta. Eventually moved to Orlando. I said, okay, I'm just going to take a break. I'm just going to get a job, end up moving back to Daytona, and got a job here. And again, those years that I'm just fighting that purpose. So, just not listening to it. Like, I'm hearing it, but I'm like, okay, no, I still got to pay my bills. I still have to do this. I still have to do that. And it just came down to the point where, like, God was like, no, you have to fulfill your purpose at this point in time. It's because you're not going to do it on your own. I'm going to put you in a position where you have to do it, where you're going to have to choose. So I think that's all those things kind of led me to where I'm at right now.
Okay. And then you also launched the Kings and Queens Brunch, right? Which you mentioned before a little bit.
Yes.
So can you explain a little bit as to like how that came to be and how is that like work with the Melanin Too Rich?
Sure. The Kings and Queens Brunch was designed for the attendees to be able to network, support other Black businesses, to fulfill their purpose, to realize their purpose, and to also get actionable steps to achieve those goals. It's for entrepreneurs, business professionals. So I really wanted to create a conversation between both men and women of color. Because a lot of times we have so many women empowerment organizations and brunches, which are all great because I still attend them, might even do one. But I think for me, having the Kings and Queens Brunch, a lot of the conversations that we have privately, like just amongst women, actually should be involving the men too. We get so inspired and so like, I can do everything, and then you go home and then your man or your spouse is not on the same page. They're like, okay, calm down, you had a great day, okay, cool. No, he needs to be just on fire as you are, about life and achieving those goals, whether they're, hey, we're going to be debt free by, 5 years from now or next month or whatever the case may be. Any type of goal that you have, either if it's you want to get a home, you want to start your business, both parties should be, kind of have that same fire and be able to talk about the same things. We talked about mental health. A lot of times that's not a conversation a lot of times women should be just having. We know as women, we're more inclined to go speak to a therapist or more, speak about our emotions and stuff. Men are not. So it was good to have, at that point, Dr. Chester Wilson, who is a health professional, behavioral health professional, to come in and say, hey, man, I'm a man. I work, at a resource center for you guys to, be able to talk about the things that are going in the news and how it affects you, what's going on at your job, what's going on in your marriage, being the head of your household, how is that affecting you, or what's been affecting you for years. Men are taught all the time to just toughen up, to not cry, and to not show emotions, but that also causes a breakdown in them, and it comes out in different ways, that they, can't necessarily articulate. So we just talked about so many great things, and also the attendees all dressed up in African attire. That was the theme, and let me tell you, anytime you get around people and they are able to dress up in their nicest African garb, that just sets the tone before you even speak. You just feel elegant, you feel royal, you feel rich. So that's how I wanted people to come to the event. And then also with what we gave them as far as knowledge, food, being able to shop with the vendors and stuff, I wanted them to leave higher than in which they came, in which they did. So I was really excited about that.
I love it. And it sounds like so much that you're doing. So essentially, but all centered around kind of people empowerment and empowerment of Black people, which is beautiful. And
yes.
Ultimately, what would you say, like, how has your journey been then doing all of this great work as a person of color? And having a business focused on people of color? Like, what are challenges that you currently face?
Overall, I would say my journey has been blessed. Challenges, I would say, when you're looking, for me, sometimes when you're looking for, those big corporate sponsors or big support, like with big real dollars, sometimes it may not fit their narrative. So, if I say, hey, well, Melanin Too Rich, we support and celebrate all shades of blackness and this and this and that, but I'm looking across the table from a white person, or somebody that this doesn't directly affect, then it's like, okay, you have to kind of spin it to where they get it and to where they understand it and understand that this is not a anti-white event. It's just a empowerment event for Black people. You get what I'm saying? So I find that too. I would say, yeah, maybe that could have been potentially a challenge in the past. Again, not having enough Black people sitting at certain tables in the high position to make those decisions, to where you may not run into those, type of speed bumps. That definitely is a challenge. So we definitely need to get more Black people sitting at the table, which they have been, but definitely at a faster rate and more. Not just a sprinkle, the top elite. No, everybody needs to get on the same page, getting higher paid jobs, getting more STEM jobs and stuff like that, so we can be able to shop with one another, go to one another, even in a high position. So yeah.
That I'm so glad.
But I haven't had really.
Continue. Yeah.
But it
what
wasn't really like Oh, okay. Yeah. But it wasn't really like crazy challenges. What I will say for anybody, definitely get a mentor, because not having a mentor or somebody that's done it before can be challenging when you try to do it all yourself, or when you come into a business thinking you know everything. Trust me, you 100% do not. You might, a person might say, well, hey, I went to school for business, so I just know how to run a business. Okay, but it's so many different fields and components to business. Business is broad. You need someone to be an accountant. You can't, be an accountant or do your social media or do your marketing. It's so many different aspects. Not saying that you can't do it, because I do it, but it really helps when you have a team. And don't be afraid to invest in yourself and invest in having a coach, because it really cuts down on the mistakes that you make. I'd rather pay somebody now to not make $2,000 mistake. I'd rather pay somebody $500 to not make a $2,000 mistake later down the line. You know what I mean? So you just have to get around the right people and figure out what do you not have time to do that you can delegate to somebody else to do. You know, so you have to figure out those things. So that's something in the beginning that I did not have, but I do now, and I can see there's a drastic difference. Because to be honest, I'm not even a year in yet so far, and I'm always, you know, getting emails or calls to do events or to come participate and be a vendor at events. So like I said, I'm really blessed at how far we've came, but we still have yet so far to go. But so far, I will say, you know, very blessed.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that. As a person who, outside of Sisters and Fire, working with them, in my own business, yeah, I coach and consult with people, and you are absolutely right. It makes a difference when you surround yourself with people that know how to guide you, how to bring the best out of you. I think that's like one of the best parts of being a coach, and seeing where someone can fulfill deficiencies that they have, but also challenge them to work harder, challenge them to be more organized, challenge them to see what they could be doing in their business that they're already not doing. So it's a journey for sure. Entrepreneurship, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. You're mentioning, there's every different side of it, and you have to be willing to work harder than you probably would working for someone else. But if you love it, then it's really not work. It's kind of a passion that is profitable, but that is over consuming, and it's a lot. But I don't know. I feel like once you're in it, you're just like you're in it. You're just like in this flow of just like fascinating. Now,
trust me. Yeah, it's kind of like if you can't swim and someone push you in the pool. You're not just going to say, well, dang, I've never swam before. Dang, I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. How do I do this? You're going to figure it out if you want to get out of it. So it's the same thing for your business. If you know, hey, your bills are due at the first of the month and it's the 15th and you don't have it all yet, then I suggest you get up and figure out a way to, you know, to make sure that you have it in 15 days. So it's let me tell you something. What I love about, I have not visited New York yet, but someone just asked me like, oh, well, where would you want to go? Even though I live in the United States, I said, well, I want to go to New York. I've never been to New York, and you know that's, you know, easily accessible. What I will say, outside looking in, what I like about New York is that you see so many people on the street like hustling, selling stuff, and it's no reason for people to really be, I guess, without at least $1 in their pocket, right? I mean, because if you have anything, I see people sitting on the ground making stuff out of flowers, out of leaves, or like you go to Hawaii, they make stuff out of those little, you know, leaves or whatever it is. So it's always something. You just really have to tap into your own gift. It's Black people, we're consumers. So you can look at you can look at the movie Black Panther that grossed over $1 billion. So it's more than enough going around. I don't care how broke somebody say they are. They have something. If they want something, they're going to make sure they get it. So it's the same thing as a business person. You just have to figure out, okay, well, what does your audience want? What do they need? And even if it's just they want, make them feel like they need it. You know, because you don't need to buy Jordans. You don't need to wear a Gucci. You don't need to, and this is just not for Black people, but in general, you know, you don't need to do a lot of the things that you do, but you make it happen and you get it done. Whether you got to wait to, you know, the next month check, your taxes or whatever, you make sure that you get it. So, you know, it's no reason to not have at least $1 in your pocket. There's always something that you can do. You just have to figure out what it is, figure out your purpose, figure out what your gifts are, that God just automatically bless you with. Everybody that has been born, when you were born, God placed something inside of you that only you can do. Even if somebody else next to you do the same thing, it's the way that you do it that's going to set you apart. That's just like if somebody told Rihanna, oh, well, girl, it's so many people doing makeup. You really want to do a makeup company? You think you can compete against MAC and Maybelline and all that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you crazy? that's like, when I first started, people are like, oh, it's so many T-shirt companies, and oh, it's so many. So what? They not Melanin Too Rich. Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
and I'm not Nike, or I'm not, everybody's different. So do your thing. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Sit down and figure out what you're good at, what your gifts are. What if you didn't go to school, that's fine, because guess what? You were born with something. Figure out what that is. So yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's what I love about our people. We figure out a way.
Absolutely. And when it comes to being a woman, how has your journey been affected? Do you feel like things would have been different if you were a man, or being a woman hasn't
Mm,
been affected, hasn't like played a role at all?
I would say for me, not so much. I don't know if I'll run into it later, but for me, not so much.
Hmm.
I have a background in like retail and selling, so no matter who I meet, I already, before you even talk, I can kind of look at you, and even after you say the first few words, I already know what you're, how to reach you. I guess you could say it's the psychology behind anything. And so, a part of my journey being a mom, luckily I did have, like I said, that retail experience and selling experience. So I really, when I meet people, I just figure out, get to know them. A lot of times people are like kind of in your face, like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. That doesn't work. You have to get to know people. Hey, are they a mom? Are they a single mom? Are they do they work? Do just anything? Do they like? Are they more trendy, or they're more just kind of casual? So all those type of preliminary questions that or just conversation. Just, hey, I like your shoes. Those are so cute. Where did you
Hmm.
get those from? Kind of finding out where they shop. Just little casual conversation. You can find out so much about a person, because that's like, okay, if I'm selling something for $500, but in our conversation, you're telling me, hey, you're a single mom of three, and you go to school, and you work two jobs. 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to have that extra $500 to do that. But I might be offering something for $100 that would be more, that you wouldn't mind spending money on. You know what I mean? So you just have to kind of figure out who your audience is, who you're talking to. So it is a gift, I would say. Anytime you deal with people, communication is key. Just kind of knowing who your audience is, and being genuine as well. Everything isn't about a dollar. So, like I
Hmm.
said, everything isn't about a dollar, because just because you don't spend money with me today doesn't mean that you may not be able to you might be able to give me a connection to somebody who will, and spend more than what I probably was looking with for you. But all in all, me being a woman, I haven't ran into anything as of yet. I'm sure the higher up you go, then
Hmm.
that becomes more of an issue. So luckily, I do run my own business. So what I say go in my
Hmm.
space. But maybe if I have to jump into someone else's space, then or share a space, then that might be different.
Yeah, I think typically, I can't say that word right now. Typically,
Different, yeah.
yeah, typically, I would say that I've seen where, as a woman, sometimes we get categorized in unfair words and treatment, right? So, in the sense of,
Mhm.
oh, so if a man is upset about a deal, right, and he curses, then
Yeah.
he's just impassioned,
Mhm.
and a woman
Mhm.
who's upset about a deal, she's dramatic, or she's too emotional.
Mhm.
That type of like horrible stereotyping and false
Right.
accusations, is something that I have found struggling. I've struggled with seeing that in media, seeing experiencing that as well, being told that if you're sharing your opinion, you're not thinking
Yep.
clearly. Like, but
Right.
you wouldn't say
Exactly.
if I was a man, right? And so that's where it's
Correct. No, and I
but
agree. And in
mhm,
my last, before I became an entrepreneur, yes, I did experience that a lot. Then, like with the company that I worked with before, that look shall not be named. I I rose over sayonara. But I grossed that company over $1 million in the course of, I would say, 3 years. So,
Mm.
I knew my worth to that company, but again, who is this? Who does this little black girl think she is to give me an opinion or to tell me how things, should be ran or whatever, even though it directly affects me and my bottom line, with making it, more efficient and running, for me. So I just found out like, hey, I'm not going to be making this company all this money. I could be doing it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
So you just really, and also what I will say, I don't regret having those jobs. So anybody that's listening now, I don't want you to regret where you're at or feel down on yourself to where you're at, because all that stuff adds up. And if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, before I had took this job, it was really out of necessity at the time. It had nothing to do with my degree, or anything. But I had to humble myself and take it because I had just decided to move back to Daytona, which is where I'm from, to help my grandmother out. She was going through major surgery. She raised me, so I just felt that as my duty to, my obligation to come back and help her, kind of figure some things out. So I just took that job as a necessity. So, but if I didn't humble myself to really say, you know what, okay, I'm going to do this, and then make it my own. And then, like I said, I kept getting promoted, just kept doing well within those past 3 years, made that company at least $1 million. But what I do take away from it is the art of being able to know how to sell, how to communicate, how to deal with people in general that you don't like, people that you are probably smarter than, but knowing that you cannot speak out every time you get upset, every time you get angry. Oh, well, let me tell them a piece of my mind. No, that's not how the real world works. And nobody has made it to the top saying, well, I know I'm good at this and you're going to respect me for this. Yes, they want to respect you by what you do. But as far as me giving you my piece, that's another thing. So I don't have to argue back and forth with you. And prior to that, trust me, I'm a work in progress. I would give it back to you. But through that job, I realized, for what? For what? You're still going to go home seeing me, how you view me, whether, there's a lot of prejudice that go on outside of just being a woman, especially being a smart black woman, then you really messed up. You know what I mean? Because they can't really, truthfully, because they can't get over on you. And sometimes, I had to kind of call them out and say, well, no, that's not actually true. No, well, it is true. Well, no, I'm going to show you why it's not true. And then you realize it and it's like, oh, well, don't worry about it. Go back to doing what you were doing. Well, how about you appreciate that I just showed you a better way of doing something, or that what you said wasn't accurate. So it's like you can't get anything past me, which I'm sure like a lot of black women face, especially the higher up you go and in corporate America. They don't want to hear all the time from you, especially if you're right. It just doesn't fit their narrative. You know what I mean? So that's why
Interesting.
ultimately I just had to figure out my own thing. But trust me, everything that you're doing right now kind of will lead you and will benefit you later on to do your own thing.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. Everyone listening, if they know my story, I'm a lawyer by trade actually, and I'm a professor, and I got into entrepreneurship. So yeah, and it's interesting. It's very fascinating how all the different job experiences you have do mold and shape you for something totally different, and then it totally, and it is a blessing. The good, the bad, and everything between. It really is, because it's teachable lessons and you are always evolving. I think that people get so caught up on just having to be one thing or knowing one thing. Human beings are multifaceted, and we are not just one thing, right? We are women,
exactly.
we are black, we are this, we are that. We're a lot of different things. So our knowledge base, our knowledge base has to also be just as expansive as we are as people. And so that leads me to my next question, which everyone listening definitely can hear why you're a sister on fire. So I wanted to know, how would you define that term, sister on fire?
Sister on fire is, I would define a sister on fire to be a person that can multitask, that's a boss in whatever they're doing, and it doesn't mean just being an entrepreneur, but like you say, you're a lawyer. You know what I mean? Guess what? We need teachers. We need doctors, a boss woman that is able to multitask, can be a mom, can be a wife, can be a sister, can be an aunt, you know, cousin, and all of those things at once and do them well. It doesn't mean that you don't have times that you cry and that you say, oh, I want to give up, or oh, I'm stressed out today. No, but you make it happen. So, you know, for sure, Sister on Fire is somebody that makes it happen, that doesn't take no for an answer. When you hear no, you just say, oh, okay, that means that means next opportunity. I'll just go somewhere else and, you know, and get what I needed to get done. Maybe that wasn't the route for me. A Sister on Fire is somebody that is resilient, persistent, ambitious, that has integrity, because a lot of times people kind of climb into the top, you know, they kind of sway a lot and kind of, you know, think one-minded, but a Sister on Fire believes in sisterhood above all things, and that's something that I've learned along the way. That, because I've never been a girl, like a girly girl, a girl's girl. I've kind of always had like males around me, even in my family, just more males. So, but through my business and networking with other women, I'm like, okay, I guess we're not so bad, you know, maybe, you know. So sisterhood is so important, and you get a lot further in your business, believing in it, subscribing to it, modeling what sisterhood is about. You get so much further in life. So all those things is what Sister on Fire means to me.
Awesome. And I love that you were honest about that, because I think not every woman grows up with strong sisterhood bonds, myself included.
Yeah.
I have more male cousins and male influences in my life than women. But when I did have the opportunity to embrace sisterhood and embrace powerful, meaningful women in my life, you know, it really does make a difference. It makes a difference in your business, difference in as you as a person, that you see things differently. And it's okay to come from a different perspective. Not everyone has sisters. Not everyone has, you know, really great aunts.
Yeah.
So even if you do, you know, and maybe you do and you don't have a good relationship, it just because something in the past hasn't worked doesn't mean your future can embrace it, right? And so I think that everyone listening as well, you know, if you haven't thought about sisterhood and how it can play a role in your life, hopefully from this series, the Sisters on Fire IRL series, they as well can gain a sense of sisterhood through the series, because I think that it's important. As a woman, we need to connect with each other, regardless of what you look like, regardless of your background, regardless of what happened yesterday, right? That we together at this moment can be together, and that we can rise together, that we can succeed together. So, you know, I hope that
we just have to be, we just have to, just to add to what you're saying, we have to be more forgiving of one another, because it's so many times where people on your job can do something and then your friend's back with them the next day, or your boyfriend might make you mad, or, you know, someone that you wouldn't expect, that you don't necessarily have a direct connection to, but a woman can do something, you're like, oh, she looked at me wrong, so I'm not talking to her. She might have been having a bad day. Somebody might have, you know, passed away in her, in her family. Maybe she just don't want to talk about it. So, you know, we have to be a little bit more compassionate to one another, because being a Black woman is a tough job. I don't care what you do. You could be at McDonald's, you can be at Chick-fil-A, you can be, like you said, a lawyer, you can be just a stay-at-home mom. No matter what you do, being a Black woman, period, walking this earth is a hard job. And I can't even imagine what our Black brothers feel as well walking the streets. So just, you know, just be a little bit more compassionate. I'll say next time, if I can just leave anything and challenge us to do, no, I don't care how you perceive someone looking at you, or maybe their tone or whatever, because I know growing up, I have the same tone, like the tone that I'm using now. It
Hmm.
don't change whether I'm upset about something. So I always like, oh my God, your tone. Oh my God. And I'm like, look, my tone is the same now. I'm just not, whatever. But just be more compassionate, more warmth. Provide more warmth for one another, because you just never know what that person is going through. And again, we're all learning, because like you and I both said, we're both strong women, and we didn't necessarily have that background to say, growing up with a lot of girls around, or and that's something that we're learning. So again, once you do learn it, the job is to model what sisterhood looks like, and to embrace other women, and to show, hey, it's not bad, it's not scary. No, we're not perfect. Trust me, we're not saying kumbaya. That's we're swag surfing and stuff. No, but it's a work in progress.
Absolutely. And for me personally, like that's why like I started my business Dressing Room 8 to particularly focus on women and women
Mhm.
entrepreneurs and women creatives, because I started those bonds and it was so meaningful to me. I said, there's nothing more meaningful than the empowerment of women. So it took my whole life in another direction. So I think that
Mhm.
I hope that, yeah, everyone listening will see that there's so many other benefits that you might not even know could be happening in your life.
Yes.
Open up your mind to
Yes.
it. So I would say, you gave so much great advice and gems that, like, really, I guess my last question just would be for everyone listening, if they want to support what you're doing, if they want to get in touch with you, and if you have any like kind of upcoming events, what would be the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yes. Currently, right now, we'll start with social media. Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there at Melanin Too Rich, MelaninToorich, and that's for Instagram, and for Facebook. It's also melanintoorich.com, the website. I post all upcoming events that I have going on there. If you want to reach me, it's melanintoorich@gmail.com. If you want to connect with me personally, definitely you can follow me at Viola Vantise on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And those are my social media. So definitely send me an email if it's anything like business related, or if you just want to give me a shout, just, connect with me, shoot me an email, melanintoorich@gmail.com. You want to support my business, definitely go to melanintoorich.com. So check me out at Viola Vantise as well.
I love it.
Yes, and as we did mention, I do help new business owners and also current business owners kind of turn their gifts and their purpose into money generating businesses. So that is something that I will be launching in the next couple months. I have already been doing it, but that's something that I'm going to launch kind of worldwide starting in the next 2 months. So if that's something that you guys need help with or want to be a part of, definitely send me an email, and then we could connect.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's a
Thank
glorious
you.
thing being able to help other people. I know I've truly enjoyed it in my business. So yeah, that's exciting that that's a new
Yes,
kind of official launch that you're going forward with. That's great.
thank you.
Absolutely. All righty. Well, thank you for being a sister on fire. Thank you for taking time to share your story and your insights. And I hope that everyone listening is deeply moved and inspired, and will definitely, I will, make sure we share your information that you shared with us on air, and just keep doing what you're doing, inspiring women, men, and just inspiring us all. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And again, thank you for reaching out to me and connecting. And hopefully we can stay in touch. And to everyone that's listening, I love you. And I hope you got something from this interview. And thank you so much for supporting me.